Let's start now. Good afternoon, everyone. A very warm welcome to all of you for taking out your precious time and being a part of today's discussion. I also thank our Vice President Pinaki Das and Executive Mohit Kuslani for their valuable contributions and their efforts. As all of us are aware with today's discussion, that is new education policy and its implications. I will just briefly introduce the topic and then the discussion will further proceed. After a gap of 34 years, the Union Cabinet has approved a new education policy on July 29 this year. The National Education Policy 2020 is meant to provide an overreaching vision and comprehensive framework for both school and higher education across the country. It is not a policy till now. It is a policy till now, not a law. It has to be proposed in the parliament and then it will become a law. Implementation of its proposals depends on states and the center also, because as we know, the education is concurrent subject and the participation of states and center both are required in it. I will point out some of the key proposals that has been proposed in new education policy 2020. First and the foremost important thing is that the earlier school curricular structure was 10 plus 2 model. Now it has to be replaced by 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 structure. In the first 5 years beginning, the focus will be on numeracy and literacy. Then the next 3 years on the initial education, next 3 years on the middle education, and the 4 years on secondary education. The new one thing that has to be added is free breakfast is being added beside the midday meal scheme that was already in the process, and vocational education along with internship that will start from class 6 have also been proposed, and the redesign of board examinations are some of the major initiatives for school education. Now we come to the higher education. A new umbrella regulator will be set up. Their role will be for regulation, standard setting, accreditation, and the funding. Private players and the foreign universities will also be allowed to set up campuses in India. The biggest change that has been introduced or may be introduced, that there will be a 4-year undergraduate degrees, where earlier it was 3 years in most of the colleges across the country, and with a multiple options of exit and entry will be allowed. A credit transfer system will be there, and the MPhil program that was famous will be abolished from next academic year onwards. So what are the timelines for these proposals to be come into the flow? The policy is meant to transform the education system by 2040. Some proposals will be implemented immediately, starting with the change in the name of Ministry of Human Resource Development. As we all are aware that the Ministry of Human Resource Development, MHRD, has been renamed as Ministry of Education. 4-year undergraduate degree with multiple entry and exit options will be introduced from the next academic calendar 2021 onwards in 20 institutes of eminences. Existing MPhil students will be allowed to continue their program until they complete their degree, and it has been proposed that no admission in MPhil will be taken now onwards. The NTA will introduce a pilot version of the common entrance test by December 2020, and that will be used for admission in all the Institute of Eminences and central universities from 2021. There are some difficulties in implementation of this new education policies. I will point them out one by one. There has been some proposals that require legal changes, and that will take like set up of board of governors. They have proposed that they will set up a board of governors, and the board of governors will take decision on behalf of central universities and universities. So there needs a legal change in it. Another difficulty is that lack of funding, because we know that the funding is also important. So the lack of funds are there. Free breakfast scheme that has been introduced also needs a major fund. The Ministry of Education is feeling and saying that they will introduce 6% of the GDP. They will contribute 6% of the GDP towards education. But the experts' opinion is that it has been already from the last half century, that is 6% of GDP will be given and will be sufficient for this education, but it has not been implemented. So we will wait and see how much the government contributes the GDP, a portion of GDP, percentage of GDP in education. The another controversy that has happened, that it has been proposed to make the mother tongue of the medium of instruction till class 5, and in the southern Indian state and northeast state it has faced controversies. Another major aspect and the most important thing that has been missing from the new education policy is that there is no mention of reservation. I personally feel that there should have been the clear mention of this reservation policy, and social justice should be ensured at any cost. As we have seen, there are many pros and cons of this new education policies. Despite of some shortcomings and challenges, most of us welcome the phenomenal change that has been proposed in this new education policies, and we are hoping for a wonderful education system in the upcoming years. Now I will hand over the discussion to Pinaki. Pinaki will moderate the discussion now onwards. Pinaki, over to you. Thank you. Thank you everyone for joining this discussion. I hope we will have a great discussion today.
Thank you, Dhirendra, for your brief introduction. Well, not so brief introduction. Thank you very much. I see there are almost 16 of us joining from Club Perspective. So welcome to each one of you. And as Dhirendra pointed out, a lot of points are there in NEP which can be thoroughly debated, and some of them, of course, straightforward, visionary and positive, some of them a little controversial. So we'll see one by one. In the meantime, can I request Mohit to please share that slide where all the rules are written? All right then. So as you can see, today total points on offer are 100 points. So this will be a very simple. There will be a very simple parameter. We would like everyone to adhere to their time limit, and to use just facts and figures, and do not depend on what is hearsay. All right. So that is a very simple parameter on which our president is going to give points to each one who speaks. And the way we are going to divide this is that for the first round, everyone is going to get at max 90 seconds for them to speak. After that, in the returning remarks, we'll give everyone 1 minute to speak. I think that will be more than enough time for you to forward your thoughts and opinions. All right. So without wasting much of time, I think before starting, before we start taking your opinions, there's a small activity that we can do. So let me just share a link in the chat box, and there's a small activity where you can participate and let us know what you think about certain things. So there you go. There is a link in the chat box. Go and access that link. There are some questions. Rate those questions. Rate what do you think about those statements. And in the meantime, we'll see what everyone feels about those things. Check the link out in the chat box. Yeah. So as you can see, the results are starting to show. So basically, there are 4 questions. First of them is regarding foreign universities setting up their campuses in India. The second is, the very talked and highly publicized this provision for class sixth onwards coding mandatory. The third, of course, is the mixing of humanities and science streams. There will be no clear boundary. The boundaries are now, invisible. And the fourth is the mandatory use of mother tongue until class 5 as a medium of education. So you can see, live updates here, whether the foreign universities should open. You can see 3.6 is the score out of 5. So pretty much everyone agree that, well, foreign universities are, probably, the way to go right now. Of course, there are concerns about what would be the cost of those educational institutes, whether they would be of the same quality. Say, for example, a Harvard at US, a Harvard at India would, be of same quality. Obviously, question marks there. Coding for class 6 students, the mixed reaction 2.5 out of 5. Mixing of humanities science will be harmful for the students. So there's a feeling that, well, it will not be harmful, 1.2 out of 5. And using of mother tongue as a medium of education, again, 3 out of 5. So some of you warming up to the idea of having, a medium of education uh, in the own mother tongue. All right, then. So we have got a very rough idea of what everyone is thinking and where everyone is on this new education policy, which has been implemented after 1984. So there we go. Mohit, you can start sharing your slides. Now I can stop mine, and let's open up the debate right now. All right. So who want to go first? I think uh, let me
We will
choose.
request mm,
Yeah.
we will request
Okay.
those who want to speak first, put their name in the chat box, or otherwise we will go through the alphabetical order. Yeah.
All right then. So let us wait 10 seconds. Otherwise, we'll cold call someone.
Sure.
In the meantime, Mohit, you can share your slides. And as everyone speaks, you can update your slides as well. Well, I don't think anyone is coming forward to speak. So let me cold call someone. Whom should I cold call? Let us start with Amanullah.
Yes, so basically, what I have to say is that the new education policy has, on paper, it is trying to introduce several revolutionary changes, but the questions still arise on how the implementation will be done. For example, one of the recent things we are seeing is that stuff like White Hat Junior and other platforms are trying to promote coding for kids and saying that if you do this, your entire future will be secure. You will get 1 crore job at Google, etc., etc. So due to the NEP, these parents are being made to think that programming is the end all solution to the job security crisis. And secondly, I would also like to add that having foreign universities in India would be, I mean, in India, people see, like Dhirendra Bhaiya said, that reservations have to be there in order to ensure social justice. But do you really think that Oxford University will come here and offer 50%, 50.5% reservation just because the government orders them to? Like this is another question, whether the regulations of the government and the regulation and the traditions of the universities, which have been set up back in like uh, 13th century or 14th century, will they clash or not with each other? And finally, I would like to say that it is a breath of fresh air to the Indian education system, and overall, I think it's a positive. We should also discuss the implementation as well, instead of just, I mean, looking at the theory part. Thank you.
All right then. Thank you, Amanullah. So you touched upon very important points, including the point where you say that it is a breath of fresh air, and you talked about the social injustice that might crop up if there is a Harvard operating out of India. So valid points there. Let me go next to Ayush. Ayush Nilkant. Ayush.
Pinaki, I will proceed little later. I am having lunch right now. So is it okay?
All right then, Ayush. Uh, then we'll go to Ashwit. Ashwit, how about you speak up?
Yeah, yeah, fine. I would like to speak about this foreign institutes in country. That's the very first point you put up in the questions as well.
Right,
Like there will be some benefits of this, but I am thinking of one negative in bringing foreign institutes to us. I don't know if all are aware or not, but few of you must be aware of the fact that they are using foreign institutes are already using our Indian students to take away our traditional cultures, traditional knowledge from here. Like in the name of fellowships and all, they are giving research options for students, and using that they are doing some research from the parts of Indian culture, and they are getting the patents and all related things.
right,
So what I'm thinking is, if the institutions are directly brought here, the work is made much simpler for them.
all right,
So I don't think it's a very good idea to bring the foreign institutions to India.
all right.
Yeah, that's my point.
So thank you, Ashwit. Well, you have raised a point that perhaps everyone else overlooks. Thank you, Ashwit. May I then go to Harish. Harish, will you like to add something? Go on. Go on, Harish. Well, it seems like we're having some difficulty. No problem. We'll move to Ritika. Let's move to Ritika and listen to what she has to say.
What I think is the 2 points which were shared even in the activity. The one is that the universities will be brought here, the foreign universities. I strongly agree with what Manula just said. That what is the guarantee that they will follow all the guidelines of government, especially the reservation policy and also the cost they will offer. Bringing up such universities and focusing on such foreign universities which will cost much higher than what we are paying now for the national universities, and if the government will focus more on them, then there will be a disadvantage for all the students who cannot pay that much amount, because we need such universities in the country which is like affordable for students coming from all the backgrounds, not just the students or the children of businessmen and all those rich men's. So I think that would be a disadvantage. Yes, it would be a great point of advantage if these universities follow all the government policies and also make their fee structure and cost affordable for all the students. And the second point which I have thought upon is that local language being used for the younger children. I feel that the students coming from village area will definitely won't be comfortable in English or any other foreign language, so they will definitely take whatever their local languages. And we know local language, it's nice, it's good to learn local language, but local language have its own what I can say is limitations, that out of that area you can't use that language. So somewhere those students will be at disadvantage, whereas the students in the cities or in the metropolitan cities will definitely, they won't be having as such any local language. What they will use is English and maybe some other foreign language which will definitely help them in their future. So this is a point which I think will make a disadvantage, and all the students either from local areas, villages or cities, they must start with two basic languages. One should be English because as it is widely acceptable, and Hindi, I guess, because Hindi is our national language. So these 2 points I wanted to make. Thank you.
Thank you, Ritika. So you talked about the disparity that might arise between rural and urban India, because the implementation of NEP is still a big question mark. So, uh, and with respect to the language and the scheme, medium of education regarding the mother tongue. So, thank you for your thoughts. Let us now move to Arya. How about we listen from Arya?
Hi, Pinaki. Okay, so uh, as far as the first question is concerned, foreign universities opening branches in India. So I would agree with what Kritika said that as far as it's affordable for people, for students, I think it's a great idea. Next, coding for sixth class, I don't think it will make a child's future secure. But yeah, it is definitely advantageous because many people go for science stream and they have no idea about coding or whatsoever. So uh, they definitely face problems in that. So there is no harm in learning coding in sixth class, and in some way they'll get a clear idea whether they want to pursue this stream or not, whether they really like coding or not. So they'll get this idea. So I like this idea. Next, use of mother tongue. I think up to fifth class, it's the base of a student's education. So in mother tongue, I think there is no problem learning or using mother tongue as a medium because they'll get their base clear. Uh, as far as the disparity is concerned, I think it's only up to class fifth, I guess. So I don't think it will be much of a problem. They'll get their base clear and then they can choose any language they want.
All right, then. Thank you, Arya, for your intelligent points. So, it is right.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
So
you.
it's right that the medium of education, of course, is a probably some say it won't be such a difficulty. For some, it is a difficulty because right now English is the language, the global language, and if it is taught right from the start, right from class one LKG, probably those students will have a better understanding going forward of English as a language, and therefore we see a lot of students coming out of say a Gujarati medium or a Hindi medium, in the interior parts of Bihar or say Uttar Pradesh or say interior parts of Maharashtra with Marathi medium, coming to higher education, enrolling themselves in uh, institutions where the medium of education is nothing but English, and then struggling to cope up just because they wouldn't get the terminologies of English right. It has nothing to do with whether they are technically equipped, because they are technically equipped, because otherwise they wouldn't get an admission there, but it is more than about the delivery that they find it difficult to. So there is some concern regarding that. I completely take your point, Arya. Let's move to Harish. Are you back? If you can hear from Harish.
Aditya Jha, please go
All
ahead.
right then, Aditya.
Okay, so I came here as an audience, so I haven't read the NEP, but I guess whatever you have posted in the questions, they are what the major points we revolve around. So I would like to give my views on those points. So the first question, as Dhirendra Bhaiya and many other following him has said that foreign universities. So I think we must not fool ourselves. Foreign universities, when we talk about, many are private institutions. If they establish their branches in another country, we should not hope that they would ensure social justice or would offer prices that would be affordable to a lot of section of students. It can't happen. One thing that can happen is between governments there could be some sort of treaty in which they form educational institutes in which both countries or a group of countries researchers can mingle over there and do research. I think that would be a more inclusive sort of plan than to establish foreign universities, whether they are private or some other kind of ventures. The second, for coding, I think the problem isn't that we aren't having enough subjects to teach kids. I think the problem basically is about the quality of teachers. Because you think, what is coding? Coding is a logical application to basically a syntax. So our kids aren't able to solve mathematical questions. That is the base. What we want is not coding. I'm not saying coding shouldn't be there. It should be there. I'm saying it's irrelevant what subjects are taught. I'm saying if you don't get the teachers right or don't get the skills development right, then I think adding more subjects is of no use. And on the mother tongue issue, I'm kind of on the edge, as Ritikadi also said that there would be a disadvantage, because in this also we should not fool ourselves that English is not be should not be promoted, because English is at the end of the day what is important. No matter how strong your base is, if you can't communicate, you would be the yours, suppose say in the university or other educational spaces, and you would fall back from other students who have. So I think this, if can be balanced between English and mother tongue, then I think it should be okay. That's my remarks. Thanks.
Thank you,
Thank
Aditya.
you, Aditya. Thank
Thank you for your insights. And uh, let's move to now Harshvardhan. Harshvardhan, let's hear from you.
So I would like to put light upon some of the issues, like means not the issues basically, but yeah, the teachers training program which is now being set up start after the year 2021, under which they will be just rejuvenating the diet and bite means institutions, which were the institutions before, I guess, 2010s. They you were used to just train the trainee teachers, and also government has planned to just stop the para teachers, which are the contact teachers, generally known as Atithi Shiक्षक in our locality. Also, the new education policy provides vocational, what we call subjects and vocational programs for students, which I think is a good feature of as of now. As when I was reading about Germany's education policy, Germany has done a really good job in that manner. But there is also a major issue, that India does not have means major vocational programs, or means well paid vocational programs, I can say in that manner. And regarding teachers, the government has just said that means by seeing, just looking at the reading this policy, I made up my mind that the initial 3 to 6 years for this policy, I think, will be more crucial than others, as means they have planned the new training program for teachers, and to stop and to just collect over the major funds, since the as I can say, just tell about my state, Madhya Pradesh. In MP there is not enough amount of, I guess, funds, because the government does not has completed the filled up the post which were empty from the last 20 years. So still about 20,000 teachers have been lack, and government is promising 30 is to 1 student ratio in the scheme. These are main issues. And one more thing, the which was a good feature which when I was reading this policy, was that it has multiple exit programs in the means university level. Also, it is providing a university degree of 4 years, which is the similar to the most of the nations, developed nations, because the student which have completed their bachelors from India used to face a lot of problem while going out, because they were used to complete the 3 degree, but in some of the institutions around the world our degree was not accepted. So we can welcome the four part of the graduation, and I can sum up with this in the first round.
Thank you, Harsh. Very important points raised. First among them was the temporary teachers issue. The second was, of course, the big point is that how the government is going to implement this policy that they have brought, and whether, and to achieve what they want to achieve, how many years before we can see the result on ground, reaching to the very last village of this country. And thirdly, you know. Uh, the thing about like he said, the multiple entry and exit points, it's a very important point where this draft says that in the first year you only get a certificate if you wish to drop out, in the second year you get a diploma certificate if you wish to drop out, in the third year you get a bachelor certificate if you wish to drop out, and in the fourth year you get a bachelor's and research certificate if you wish to drop out. I think this is very important for a country like India, where the higher education system pretty much forces the child to decide his own stream or destiny very early in his career. Not exactly like how it happens in Canada or US, where you can do a minor here and there, and then you finally decide what is your major going to be in the university. So I think that is a very positive step. Apart from that, another important point that Harsh actually raised, which I am very surprised that he noticed, is that how Indian degrees sometimes are not recognized in other countries, in a sense that our engineering is a 4-year course, and our probably BA and other BSc is are 3-year courses. Usually what happens is that for a 3-year bachelor course, if you are going to do a master's abroad, they would assume that you're going to do a master's of 2 years, so that it becomes total 5 years. On other hand, if you have a 4 years BTech degree and you want to do a master's abroad, usually a 4 years bachelor's degree would accompany with 1 year master. So you eventually, whether or not your bachelor's is a 3-year degree or 4-year degree, you would get a master's plus bachelor's in total of 5 years. I think that is one big confusion where, because of our inconsistency in giving out bachelor degrees, where our BTech courses are 4 years and our bachelor in science or arts are of 3 years. I think this is one such issue that has been drafted in this, addressed in this draft. So thank you, Harsh, for your important points. Let us now move to Kumar Gaurav, shall we? Kumar.
Yeah, I didn't read the draft. I just came to listen to the discussion.
All right then, but at any point, if you want to come in and give your opinion, you're most welcome. So let us.
We would like to hear from the Bhavishya Raj.
All right then. So Bhavishya
Bhavishya.
is one of the early joinees of the meeting. Let us hear from him. Yeah.
Bhavishya, you are not audible. Please say it loudly. Hello. Bhavishya, we are unable to hear you. Are you speaking? Hello.
All right then, Dhirendra will hold on with Bhavishya for now and move on to someone else. Let us move to प्रेमलता. आप कुछ बोलना चाहते हो? प्रेमलता, go on. आप कुछ बोलना चाहते हो?
Yes.
हाँ.
The NEP recommends medium of instruction to be in the home language, mother language, and local language in primary classes. The NEP states wherever possible, the medium of instruction till grades 5 and preferably till grades 8 and beyond will be the home language and mother tongues. School managements point out that the NEP goes against the apex court's verdict stating that impositions of the mother tongues as the medium of instruction in primary classes was unconstitutional.
Yes, right.
आपकी बात से सहमत है प्रेमलता. आपने बोला कि हाँ प्राइमरी लेवल पे जो लैंग्वेज है मदर टंग में होना चाहिए, ये जरूरी भी है, लेकिन एट द सेम टाइम वी आर डिस्कसिंग दैट द इम्पोर्टेंस ऑफ इंग्लिश इज आल्सो देयर. So there should be no language barrier, so that any student who is coming to higher education or college should not face any kind of discrimination or lack of adequacy. Thank you for your insights.
Thank you, Premlata. Thank you, Premlata. Maybe Dhirendra.
Thank you, Dhirendra.
Thank you, Premlata, again. And also, Dhirendra, she was also referring to the fact that probably in the primary, in the formative years of a child, the mother tongue is the best language to interact. Scientifically proven that it directly affects the development of the child in their formative years. So right there, point taken, very point made very well. Thank you, Premlata, again. So let us now move to Ashwini, shall we? Ashwini.
I'll start with the first point about foreign universities. So I think I don't see a way how Indian students can benefit from this because as others said, key reservation system, we are not sure if they're going to implement or not. And also about the fees, we are not sure if they're gonna uh, take it down or not. So the students who can already afford foreign universities and who can sort of take admission in that, they're already just few of them, just handful of them, and they most of them don't have an issue going out, you know, actually going out to another country and studying. So I don't really see how normal everyday Indian students can benefit from this, except that you will just have an exposure of other students coming to India and studying. So other than that, I don't really see how it's going to benefit. So that's about that. Then about coding, I agree with Aditya that introducing just a lot of different subjects to students at a young age or at any point, just a lot of mix of subjects is not going to help. You need to provide good teachers and a good base to the students so that they can, as it is, we know that in India the research sector is pretty weak, and I like to believe that it is because there's children don't have a good base in the subject, so which is why they cannot proceed further. So I think that it's more important that teachers are properly trained to handle the subject and teach the students well. And that's about that. Then about mother tongue, yes. Coming from KV myself, I've moved to different schools, and I've seen that a lot of students face issues when when you're moving states. So even though at this point, like when I passed out from my school, English was pretty much compulsory, and that was I was from an English medium school, but still I could face many problems going to different states, and I see other students having issues too. So I think that it is very important that English should be taught. Mother tongue, I still feel like students just talk to each other and sort of develop. But I still feel that English should be definitely taught as a primary medium of education. That's about it.
Thank you, Ashwini. I think we are having a very mixed bag of opinions as far as the mother tongue is concerned. Where on one side, it is probably the best tool to develop a child in his formative years. On the other side, you want English to be the language because that is what right now is the language of the world. And also another point that you raised, Ashwini, is very important. You talked about the research budget and how research output in India is just very, very, in a very horrible condition. Uh, right now, for India to grow, I think its research needs to, really be, at the level of, say, uh, China or US, which I think probably will take many, many years. Probably looking at the kind of money that we spent on our research and in our research programs. So I think there you go. There is one such problem where bringing in foreign universities probably, you don't know how much it is going to help, because at the end of the day, if you're not putting money into research, the technology isn't going to grow domestically, at least in the country. So thank you, Ashwini, for your insights. So before moving to other students from School of Engineering, let us welcome Yuvraj. Yuvraj is from KIT, and he's a friend of Amanullah. So Yuvraj, welcome. Would you like to put your opinion?
Yeah, hi. Thanks for introducing me. I just entered this meeting to be educated more on this particular subject that I know is very important for our country. Not it, but yeah, that's why I entered this meeting so I can self-educate myself on more about what this is and what opinions the students of India have right now. What a general opinion is. That's about it.
Thank you,
Thank
Yuvraj, and
you.
we
Thank you for
also
being part of this.
We thank you for being a part of this meeting, and we hope that in the future meetings also you will turn up and
Of course,
probably
of course.
thank you very much, Yuvraj. So
Happy to be here.
let's move
Hello,
to now.
hello.
Okay, let's hear
Am
from
I audible
Bhavishya.
right now?
Yeah, loud and clear.
I'm sorry about that thing. It was about something, some perks of switching to Linux.
No problem.
And
Yeah.
I have not read much about this policy, but I had read that there was something like there is a thing that you have to do a bachelor's and then you can pursue for B.Ed in our country. And it was going to be discontinued after this policy. My point is if you're going to teach somebody after doing BTech B.Ed, like you need to have some prior education to it. So like if you are going to discontinue that bachelor thing before B.Ed, uh, the proper knowledge would not be there to teach somebody. So like that was something I thought you guys missed. And other than that, about that language issue, I think that mother tongue is essential. And does it say like English would not be taught, or is it like mother tongue would be made compulsory along with English? I just need clarification.
No,
Hello.
initially the draft said that it will be compulsory. However, due to questions raised by the different states around the country, especially from the southern India, the central government decided that finally it is not going to be compulsory, but it is kind of advised that you teach the students until 5 standard at least in the mother tongue. So that is it.
Okay.
A three language policy
So
that is
like,
prevailing in the country will be there. Yeah.
sorry.
Three language country that is already in the prevailed in the country that will be there. There will be no compromise
Okay,
with that.
okay. So like, basically, I come from Uttar Pradesh, so our mother tongue is Hindi, so it is like common to almost kind of whole of India. So I don't know much about language barrier, but I think mother tongue should be compulsory. And there is a backlash, cultural backlash about English, that English is a foreign language, but like Hindi was proposed to be the unifying language for India, but due to some religious attachment to Hindi, it is important that English should be now used at it. And like and along with the mother tongue, but because I think mother tongue is important for that pre nursery and all that part of your, like, below 5, it is important for your like grasping the concepts. It is easier, as you can see, it is easier for me to grasp in Hindi and others for their in their home like mother tongue. So it is kind of important. And along with that, about foreign universities, I think that move will actually help in diluting all that halo effect that foreign university have in India. Like if you are a guy from so university from outside, you are like god here. So it will help in diluting that thing, and all those comparative status which we get about the universities in India and abroad are not like so much in accordance with the situations we have in India. So it will help in a better understanding about how the education here and other abroad is. So like that's all, and I kind of agreed with everybody's point. Those were good points. Thank you.
Thank you, Bhavishya. Your points about foreign university and how they might not have that kind of an effect. What we are trying to, expect regarding the quality. So, and also regarding the B.Ed point that you said that you need some kind of a degree before which you can do a B.Ed, which is right now being scrapped according to the draft. So, thank you very much, Bhavishya. Let us now move to Akansha. Akansha, can we hear from you?
Yeah. Yes. Hello.
Go on.
Am I audible?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Hello. Sure. So
Yes, Akansha, you are.
Yeah, I want to point out this schooling point, like this foundation point where as 85% of brain development happen before 6, when the happen before kids turn into 6. So uh, there in this policy we see that there is a foundation course which will start from when the student from 3 years, and this will help them to develop their foundations, as most of the primary as most of the private schools they have such kind of system, but in government school and other schools we can see that it's not there. So this will help them to build the foundation of the students. And other thing I want to point out is the academic bank of credit. Since as in India, most of the students I saw that they dropped, and they if they drop it, and after 2 year, at least the courses they have done, these credits will be added, and at least they are that much educated, they have a particular certificate or a diploma that they have completed at least 1 or 2 years. So this will help them to not to repeat that thing again, and they will not called as a failure. At least they have completed 1 or 2 years and they can continue it when they have time. So that's all I want to say.
Thank you, Akansha. You raised a very important point. You said that how in India, suppose you're taking a course, you're halfway through, and you realize, well, that's not working out for me. Then, possibly cannot drop out from that course because obviously of the societal pressure and how you're gonna be looked at, like a failure. And in the same breath, you also pointed out at the credit transfer bank, or should I say, however you put it, the bank of credit, where you can store your credit, you can transfer it to from one institution to another institution. So thank you for putting forward those points. And let us, I think we have covered almost everyone except I think, yeah, Daneshwari is left. So how about we hear from Daneshwari?
Hello everyone. Actually, all the points have been covered, but like everyone already said that the language barrier, the question arises that we are talking about the language barrier, the mother tongue, and everything in our primary education or in at the school level, and we're not, and nobody is talking that mother tongue and these languages could be taken into account in undergraduate, postgraduate, and further higher studies. So really, it's clear, like in the higher studies we are having English as a language and no mother tongue or Hindi we are accepting there. So that becomes an important thing to consider, that we should have English as a medium for entire India for our education, so that if a child, even if he or she transfers from one state to another, the medium doesn't changes, but along with that, uh, a separate a separate regional language or the language of the state should be included in the curriculum. The thing that mother language is important, it is considered in every Indian family, I guess. So suppose the mother tongue is any southern India language, then the family teaches the child their mother tongue language. The only thing is the reading and writing in mother language, then I think it can be considered more important. But currently, the parents do this with their child. They do teach their children in the mother tongue. So I think English should be made the medium of studying and everything. And the second thing, the midday meal thing that has been introduced, the midday meal will include now breakfast also. That's a good point in the NEP now, apart from all the negativities and the minus points that it's having. So yes, that's it.
Thank you, Daneshwari. You raised important points. You said about how the mother tongue is already, taken care of by the parents themselves. However, they should not be imposed forcefully on the schools to, change the medium of education. That might backfire, may backfire, and high chances are that it will backfire. So, thank you, Daneshwari. Let's move finally now to
Ayush.
Ayush.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, Ayush.
Uh, Hello everyone. Am I audible?
Loud and clear.
Yeah, I want to raise 2 to 3 points that has not been touched right now. That pre-primary schooling is now compulsated, because in the previous time that our new students come to admission on directly on a first class, they require some of the basic things. But if they have not done any pre-primary schooling from some private institutes, that because the private institutes provide, but not a government school provide the pre-primary uh, schooling. And also if they have done that, we have anganwadis here, if they are registered there, they will come to know a little bit of overview regarding this. So it is quite a great thing that pre-primary schooling is now compulsory. And other thing is about Rashtriya Shiksha Ayog. Rashtriya Shiksha Ayog is one of the thing that is already present here, present in our government niti, we will say that it includes all the things that working with a state committee, state ministry, and the national ministry working together to make education policy more frequently. But the problem here arises is that वो जो भी मतलब काम होता है ना, वो मतलब जिनको भी वहाँ पे अरेंज करते हैं, जिनको भी वहाँ पे लगाते हैं, वो एज अ फेवर के उस पर काम होता है कि मतलब मेरा अगर कोई अच्छा दोस्त है, मान लीजिए धीरेन्द्र है, पिनाकी है, बट उनमें इतनी स्किल्स नहीं है, पर मैं मेरा अच्छा दोस्त है, मैंने उनको वहाँ पे लगा दिया. सो ये वाली चीज़ वो मेन इस पर रखनी चाहिए, क्योंकि आप किसी को भी नहीं लगा सकते. सपोज इफ धीरेन्द्र हैज नॉट दैट काइंड ऑफ स्किल, आई शुड हैव नॉट पुट इन देयर इन दैट टाइप ऑफ फील्ड. And also regarding that foreign institutes, that we have bits Pilani that doesn't provide a category reservation. So it depends on the institute that in private, I will talking about a private institute, it depends on institute whether they work with a government facility, then it will be called as a semi government college, but it's like a completely private college that does not require anything of any kind of thing. And I would like to clarify regarding that exit option. Does the exit option will that's the credit transfer type of thing. Suppose I have completed my 2 years. There is a 4 year course. I have exited after 2 years. After doing 10 to 12 or 15 years of some other thing, I come back to the college. I after transferring my credit after 10 to 15 years, it's quite not a good thing, because I clearly don't know what I have studied before 10 to 15 years. So these things, I personally feel that the credit transfer thing is not quite good. So this is what I can say. Thanks.
Thank you,
Thank
Ayush.
you. Yeah.
Before we go for our second round, Mohit, you want to add something? Very quickly. Mohit, do you want to add something? Uh, I think we're having trouble with Mohit. All right, then. So there you go. I think we have covered almost everyone as far as I can see. Right, Dhirendra?
Yeah. So please
So,
go ahead.
so there we go. So that's our first round. So now we'll very quickly go for our second round, where we'll, take the reactions of everyone as to what they think about certain issues, which actually has, divided our opinions. And I would like to point out one or two things here. Now, this policy, which has been, obviously not has been passed by the parliament, has not been yet made into a law. However, there is a certain accusation by the opposition to the government that this policy somehow centralizes everything. It creates a authority at the center, and how the center is going to control every education policy over the country. And they say that, well, the education is a concurrent subject. It is both in the state list as well as in the center's list. So somehow this is going to make center more powerful and more interfering in the education department over the country. And probably whatever the center will feel is right will be imposed on different states, whether or not it suits them or not. It is something like, one size fits all kind of a situation where there is going to be one decision body will take all the decisions regarding all the states, north, south, east, west. It does not matter. So there is one, particular criticism that the government is facing, especially. However, largely the reaction has been that it is a forward-looking draft. It is a draft that needed to come much before than it has come. It needed to come, at least 2 decades, before, when it came. And to that, I would say there are concerns, among the people who, of course, in the opposition, but also thinkers, that probably the implementation of this draft is going to be very, very tough. What they are trying to achieve, say, probably in some years, is going to be very tough, given that, our rural educational infrastructure is, very weak. And probably, we are already in a economy where we are not allocating enough resources for education. So the very fact that, as it is promised, 6% of GDP is going to be spent, I think that is a very far-fetched, vision, and it should be needed to be looked at with a, with a pinch of salt. I think there are, certain issues where, the government, has been criticized. So let's take a quick reaction for our second round. I want this to be, relatively brief, but in case you want to go longer, you can of course go longer. So let's start with someone like Amanullah. Amanullah, final remarks.
So after the discussion, I mean, more or less everything that is to be said has been said. One more thing that we would like to say is that even though, like, comparing ourselves with countries like Germany and others is not a very good idea, because those countries have mostly homogeneous populations, which and do not have the same level of diversity that we have in our country. So it is, I mean, the debate is on whether just promoting regional languages leads to even more increasing the state divide even more. So I would like, that's it from me.
Thank you, Amanullah. Let's go to Ritika. Ritika, for your final remarks.
I think I would like to comment that just for the conclusion point, the one more point which was not discussed is that um, internships given from class 6. So I think that is a good way to give a professional skill to students at a young age. But class 6 is what I feel is very much young for professional skills. But even if it is implemented, I think it should be make sure that it is not equivalent, it does not become equivalent to child labor, where students are given some jobs which they are doing and they are gaining skills, but for that they are not being paid, and the companies are being benefited from them, and they are overlaid loading them or that kind of stuff. So that is something which is a nice idea, but a very nice take care of that. These points also should be taken into consideration, and a high check on these things should be made, because companies would always would like to make benefit in any way possible.
All right, and so you're talking about the guidelines regarding the internships and the vocational training and how it is going to be implemented, and whether it is, possibly the right idea to start just from class 6. All right, then. Thank you very much, Ritika, for your points. Let's move to Harsh. Harsh.
So okay, um, I would like to reply to Bhavishwi. Means he was quite wrong in that when he said that B.Ed program government is planning to just switch to B.Ed program afterwards. Government has planned to just create a bachelor's of liberal arts, a degree of 4 years, which will be like a bachelor plus education, bachelor's in education program, so that a person can learn his basic educations after means 12th part one in his major and minor. Then he can opt for the education as a teacher. And also the mother tongue issue, I would like to speak upon that. So we can take two cases. One is China and other is Singapore. See, Singapore was a country which doesn't have much of a mineral resource, but it was quite a port. So the when the dictator of means the Singapore has a dictator type of government, but he introduced that time there was a major issue when new education policy came up in Singapore. In Singapore, the education policy, people were refusing that English was being imposed on them, but it quite actually helped Singapore as an economy. So this is it for Singapore part, that means that we should promote English or not. We should be promoting English as it creates a what you call corporate environment, because English is like a communicating what you call language for most of the nations in a corporate world. And in China, but we can see that China has means in China there was Mandarin was their means language, and they developed their own environment for development of industries. So both are examples, and we can just look their pros and cons. And also I would like to reply to Ayush Via. Ayush described that means if a person is just completing his 2 years diploma and then he's coming 10 to 15 years after to complete his matlab, degree, and this is quite not a good thing. So if something happens, suppose if person is in first or second year and he means faces some accident or something kind of that, which is a 4 years means he is in coma or something like that. So those people will also get an opportunity. Or sometimes there are not family issues are there, means a person is unable to continue his what we call degree during the time, and his degrees of suppose I'm completing my engineering degree, and in the third year something happens at my home that I'm unable to continue my degree, so I can just come back later and to just complete my degree over that. So it is a quite a welcome gesture for us from the government side. Also the government
Thank
has
you,
a
Harsh. Yeah,
SCRT.
please conclude.
Okay, I'm just the government is setting SCERT. It is an independent institution which will be being set up in all over the states to look over the education part. I totally agree with the part Pinaki said that it will be more like centralizing the things towards the government, but somewhat it is means a mixed kind of a gesture for that, my, because there have been previous issues in the education, like we can see the example of Bihar 2 years or 3 years back. uh, the political science ones, that something was there, Bihar scam and something. Okay, I'm summing up my talk.
Thank you, Harsh.
Thank you.
Interesting points regarding Singapore and China as to how Singapore took one direction, China took the other, and probably both of them doing well. However, it is in our interest to take best of both. Thank you, Harsh, for your wonderful remarks. Let us now move to Aditya Jha, shall we? Aditya, your final remarks.
Yeah, so I would just like to say 2 points majorly. First is that we've been hearing about how this would implicate, this NEP would implicate a more privatized version of education. I, in any case, oppose privatization of education because as the percentage of private payers in the education sector increases, the more will be marginalization of students coming from backgrounds who have not been able to access education, like poor people or people from castes that have been historically been kept away from education. Second point, when we talk about the mother tongue issue and decreasing the divide, sort of to say, between India, I think it is seldom a prejudice against the southern states, because the reason for this point is, if we take the case study of the three language policy that was implemented in 1968, we see that, which was opposed at that time also by the southern states, but however it was passed and it was being implemented. The result of that was, all the sudden, the policy was that every state has to teach in first mother tongue, second any foreign language, and third any other Indian language. What we see in states like UP and Bihar, what happened was, there was Hindi, English, and there was Sanskrit. And in southern states, there was a combination of their mother tongues, their English, and some other genuine Indian language, that is II. So what we see is, if you see students from Bihar and states like Bihar and UP, none of them knows how to talk in Sanskrit, or has none. So whatever skills in that language, they just term it as an easy subject for getting marks, and just they pass through it. So you see, a student from Bihar hasn't gained any language that is currently being spoken in India. While the other hand, the southern state kid has to learn any language that is being spoken. Like we see in our institute also, the people from Andhra can speak Hindi, but we on the other hand from the North India don't even know their languages. So I think that is a prejudice against the southern states, and I think the mother tongue debate should be looked at more neutrally. That's my point. Thank you.
All right, and thank you, Aditya. Let's move to now Bhavishya. Bhavishya, very briefly, if you can conclude, and
Um,
also to react to what Harsh had to say.
I'm sorry about that. I didn't read much in detail, so I'm sorry about that. And there is, I want to talk about that vocational studies and coding from sixth class. Basically, it is not like coding is not like important for that thing. We can add a subject like vocational thing, and then we could teach designing or something like that, because if you like it would be more like comparing with the western culture, but there is a thing that are if you go on the online footprint of Indians, there is a thing that our photoshops and all that thing actually like mm, is of derogate are termed in a derogatory manner, because they are not of on par with the with what is actually should be like. There should be a design language in that, so we could be taught design languages and how to do things in a manner, and like there are body shops and things, like in India, a mechanic is termed as some kind of a lower category of a job. I'm not being any kind of like that. Sorry about that, but it is the norm here. So if like if mecha- uh, like the things which are taught to a mechanic or a carpenter are taught to us, and like if we are able to set up like if we have that capital and we and have that have some kind of idea in our mind, we don't need an extra mechanic to set up a good body shop or a carpentry shop, like that would help in like
All
improving
right
the
then.
culture
Thank
of that thing.
All right then.
Thank you, Bhavishya.
Thank you, Bhavishya. I think what you have tried to say is that the attitude towards menial, so-called, menial jobs should be, changed in India. Like no job is beneath my dignity, anyone's dignity, whether if it is a mechanic's job or a sweeping job, nothing is beneath
No,
anyone's dignity.
I'm sorry, Pinaki. That was not. I was like there is
Yeah, we need to
a
quickly.
stereotype about how Indians are considered as IT guys. So like we could have something like that to change it. Why are you promoting coding over other vocations? Like there are things that I'm interested in. I am interested in carpentry and things, but I didn't have the resources when I was studying to like learn it. I could have gone out of my way to go to a carpenter shop and learned it, but it was not available at my school. So like these things should be introduced.
All right, then. Thank you. Very unique point pointed out there as to how Indians are stereotyped and how.
Yeah, we need to be very quick with this little remark. Yeah, I would remind that we need to very quick. We have to conclude the discussion before 4 o'clock.
All right, then. Let's
Please.
quickly move to Ritika, and then we're gonna go to Daneshwari very quickly. Yeah.
Ritika has made her point, I think.
Yes,
She
I'm
has.
done.
Daneshwari is remaining.
Okay. Okay, my bad. Daneshwari.
Actually, I think many points have been already covered. So, lastly, about the foreign universities, addition of foreign universities is somewhat good, but also it's like it's an addition to the existing engineering colleges we are having in India. So, instead, the solution could be the existing colleges, not engineering, existing colleges and universities could be made much more better by introducing new curriculum by making stricter rules instead of I think introducing new foreign universities in our country. So I think and already the points have been raised by many people and many points have already been considered. So that's it. Thank you.
All right, then. Thank you. Uh,
Thank you. We will. Ashwini. Ashwini, please go ahead.
Hello.
Okay, so just one point that I wanted to add was ki I
Yes,
still
you are
have a
audible,
feeling
please.
with all these coding exercises and with so many variety of subjects that you get when you move on to higher education, I feel like that will create a huge divide between students from government schools and students from private schools, because it seems like a distant dream that a government normal student, a average everyday student who's coming from a government school will get all these additional exposure and facilities. That's it. In general, I just hope that because of poor implementation, the general quality of our education, I hope it doesn't deteriorate. That's about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashwini. Dhirendra, who next? Ashwit?
Ashwit. Yeah, Ashwit, please.
Yeah, yeah. We have got lot of points, but I would like to make a final comment on this local language being promoted. Like I like Ritika Adi made one point which is very good. Like in urban, uh, sh-
Yeah,
in
very, very
urban,
quick. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Sorry, in urban students are almost they will be taught everything in English. They will be using English in general as well, so it will be difficult for them to read in this. Yeah, I agree with that, but there is second side of that. Like I always believe in this protecting our traditional culture and knowledge. So the students are children who are living in urban areas, their our roots are going into way, they're forgetting the roots. So I think it's not like a complete implementation of language, but they should be given the taste of local languages in the state. That's my point. It no
Thank you,
need to
Ashwit.
be completely taught till fifth, but flavor should be given to them.
Yeah, completely
Okay,
agree with you.
thank you. Thank you, Ashwit. We'll now move on to Akansha. Akansha, if she is there.
Okay, I would like to speak about languages, and since if the lots of languages are provided, this in the point of scoring more, the student might choose to take their local language as a
Go on.
main language. Okay, language for studying. So this will, hello, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, you are audible.
yeah.
Please
So
continue.
this will, if the student the scoring point, then the student will he will not focus on other languages. It's, so I think that a particular English language should be compulsory, but the other languages are also included. So
All right, then thank you.
at least there is a common English subjects. If the student, so they might not face any problems. So that's all.
All right, then point taken. I think now we can move to Ayush. Ayush, if you can also, while concluding, react to what Harsh had to say, and also as to how the opposition has reacted, and how the criticism that perhaps this will make it more centralized than anything. Go on, Ayush.
Uh, and I clearly second with Bhavishya that what he has taken. It's quite good because in the prime, we can say in a middle school from starting from six, it's not required that we should go give him a coding courses. More better than we should give him a logical reasoning type of course, because in our coding also we first have to describe what the logic has been going to proceed, and then we implement it in the coding. And we have seen that in a 2 years we have learned 2 to 3 languages basically, so and quickly. So it's not required too much time to learn coding. If we know the knowledge, we can grasp it quickly. And answering to Harshvardhan, that if there is any health issue, that health issue are always taken by the institutes. So there is not being any chance that because of health there is a gap between his studies. The institute will be take care of it by providing him some extra time, whatever the time will taken, the institute will provide. But after a very long interval like 10 to 15 years, it's quite useless, because suppose after 3 to 4 years you will don't know that what you have given in the JE exams. That we personally feel that whenever there is some questions about regarding the physics when that we have studied in 11th 12th, then now if we do it we will probably quite little bit of we will forget it. So this was the points that if there is a large gap, then we should be, instead of changing our credits, transferring our credit, we should proceed with a new beginning so that we can grasp in a order that a second year things will be useful in a third year thing. So after having a gap of 10 years between this, so it will quite a baseless thing, because whenever you do with the third year studies, there are so many students with you, those who are just completed their second year, they will grasp it quickly, and you will feel they are demotivated also, because suppose there is a class of 10 students and someone come from very lower background and have not studied anything about anything in English, and just came a new admission to a class where all the 9 students are teaching in English language only from past 9 to 10 years, and then we all are sitting together, whatever the teacher tells in English, so we will not listen it, we will not understand, then that guy will not understand it. And talking about the opposition, that opposition, there are 3 to 4 different things of opposition takes place. That first ever the things, whatever the policy that the government is saying, stating or saying, the opposition has the right to work against it, because that's why they are known as opposition. That whatever the things that the government is doing or implementing, the cons has to be taken down, and they loud and clear has to be told to the opposition, right. There is a more of a thing of internship takes patterns, that college students are not having internship right now, so are it is quite very difficult, maybe next to impossible, that the school students will have an internship or opportunity. So starting from 6, there are tremendous students, mind-blowing students in the school level also. They usually get their internship in their schooling time. So I think I am getting running time,
Yeah.
so I will
So
conclude it here.
yeah. So all right then. So thank you, Ayush. I think with that we have completed both our rounds. So I'll just request Mohit to stop.
We will
Yeah.
everyone.
Yeah. Go on.
Yeah, we can have a group screenshot of the photos
Yeah.
of
Sure.
all the
Sure. Sure.
participants. So I
Definitely.
request everyone to switch on your cameras and
Yeah.
have Pinaki continue.
Can I also request Kirendra? Can you for a yeah? Mohit has taken off the this thing. So let me just change the layout once so that we can take one photo for our social media. So everyone is requested to please switch on their cameras so that we can take a
भाई
Have a
बहुत
good
screen.
गंदा
year
दिख
for your
रहे हैं।
success, and
कोई बात नहीं यार
I
ये
thank
तो
every participants for their healthy participation. And आपने इतने अच्छे से एक्टिवली पार्टिसिपेट किया, सबको एक बार फिर से थैंक यू। अगले
एक्शन बंद मत करना
ये
यार।
भाई बहुत गंदा दिख रहा हूँ मैं, ठीक है।
नहीं नहीं हम सभी गंदे दिख रहे हैं ऐसा कुछ नहीं है।
तू तो चालू कर ले कैमरा।
अरे मेरा कैमरा
चलो
अंधेरे में है।
स्टॉप द रिकॉर्ड,
चलो
जस्ट वेट भाई रिकॉर्ड हो रहा है।
अरे 6-7 मिनट टाइम पास वाला होगा, इस रिकॉर्डिंग स्टॉप कर दो।
All right then. Thank you very much